Invoking the blessings of the Almighty, honorable dignitaries on stage, esteemed delegates of the conference, staff and students of the Sri Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence, Sai Ram, Namaste, and a very good afternoon. We welcome you all to the valedictory session of the second edition of the All India Vice-Chancellors Conference 2025. At the outset, we would like to welcome all the dignitaries on the dais. Padma Vibhushan awardee, fellow of Sangeet Natak Academy, and former Rajya Sabha member, Dr. Sonal Mansingh. Ma'am, it is truly an honor to have you with us today. Thank you. Padma Vibhushan awardee and former chairman of Atomic Energy Commission of India and president of the National Academy of Sciences, Dr. Anil Kakodkar. Thank you, sir, for joining us today. Professor J. Shashidhara Prasad, member, Board of Governors of the University. Shri B.N. Narasimhamurthy, Chief Mentor of the Sri Sathya Sai Lokaseva Gurukulam Group of Institutions. Dr. Shri Kantamurthy K., Vice-Chancellor of the Sri Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence. Our beloved Sadguru Shri Madhusudan Sai, the revered Chancellor of the Sri Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence, a visionary, spiritual leader and humanitarian transforming millions of lives every day across 80 countries. Our hearty welcome to all the dignitaries once again. We will commence the program with our university students, and they will chant verses from the Medhadi Siddhartha Mantra.
विश्वरूपः छन्दोभ्योऽध्यमृतात् सम्बभूव समेन्द्रो मेधया स्पृणोतु अमृतस्य देवधारणो भूयासम् शरीरं मे विचर्षणम् जिह्वा मे मधुमत्तमा कर्णाभ्यां भूरिविश्रुवम् ब्रह्मणः कोशोऽसि मेधया पिहितः श्रुतं मे गोपाय आवहन्ति वितन्वाना कुर्वाणा चिरमात्मनः वासागुंसि मम गावश्च अन्नपाने च सर्वदा ततो मे श्रियमावह लोमशां पशुभिः सह स्वाहा आमायन्तु ब्रह्मचारिणः स्वाहा विमायन्तु ब्रह्मचारिणः स्वाहा प्रमायन्तु ब्रह्मचारिणः स्वाहा दमायन्तु ब्रह्मचारिणः स्वाहा शमायन्तु ब्रह्मचारिणः स्वाहा यशोजने सा निस्वाहा श्रेयान्वस्य सोऽसा निस्वाहा तन्त्वा भगप्रविशा निस्वाहा समा भगप्रविश स्वाहा तस्मिन् सहस्रशाखे निबगाहं त्वयि मृजे स्वाहा यथा पः प्रवतायन्ते यथा मासा आहर्जरम् एवं मां ब्रह्मचारिणः धातरायन्तु सर्वतः स्वाहा प्रतिवेशोऽसि प्रमाभाहि प्रमापद्यस्व ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ तत्सत् श्री साईश्वरार्पणमस्तु
Founded by Sadhguru Sri Madhusudan Sai, the Sri Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence is guided by the principle Atmano Mokshartham Jagat Hitaya Cha, redemption of one's own self and the welfare of society. The university aims to blend spiritual and worldly knowledge based on the ancient Indian Gurukula system and provide free, high-quality, values-based education to students from rural areas. Rooted in the values of humaneness and service, this university stands committed to nurturing a Bharatiya model of education, and this conference is a step towards rekindling that vision. On behalf of the university, we extend our heartfelt gratitude to all the Vice-Chancellors who have joined us from across the country. Your presence and insights over the last 2 days have enriched this conference and will certainly contribute to the national dialogue on values-based education amongst the policymakers and educationists. This conference was centered on the theme Humane Education for a Better World, with technical sessions designed to inspire thought, dialogue, and a shared purpose. The discussions helped us reflect on how education rooted in compassion and values can shape a more just and caring society globally. As a university, we are also very excited that the members of the conference have also drafted a collective way forward which can be implemented across institutions, particularly in the higher education scenario. We truly hope this marks not an end, but a beginning of a shared journey together. We will now have Ms. Dhimahi present a summary of the 2-day conference. She's currently a third-year student in the Department of Performing Arts Bharatanatyam at the university. Ms. Dhimahi.
Namaste and good afternoon to one and all. The Day 2 technical session was titled Assessing the Impact of Humane Education through HUQ and HEQ Models. Professor V.N. Rajshekharan Pillai, the session moderator, opened the session by reflecting on the theme Humane Quotient by looking up to our hospital as a practical example. The first speaker, Professor Pandey, spoke about his research on yoga, leadership, and positive psychology, and invited institutions to collaborate in implementing this holistic Indian wisdom-based approach to student wellness. His core message was true transformation in education requires proactive, integrated well-being practices rooted in both science and spirituality. The second speaker, Professor Totatri Venugopal, introduced the core theme of promoting precision, progress, and innovation in assessing human potential, highlighting 2 institutional models developed at Sri Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence, the Human Excellence Quotient and Humane Quotient. The third speaker, Mr. Naveen Sriramulu Lakkur, emphasized that while academic education opens career doors, humane education ensures meaningful, ethical growth, especially critical in a world driven by advanced technologies like AI and blockchain. Technical session 2 was an interactive session with Sadhguru, education, values, and spiritual leadership. The session was moderated by Professor Ashok S. Alur, Vice-Chancellor, Kodagu University, Karnataka. Sadhguru answered various questions on models, pedagogy, and implementation techniques of human values at higher education level. He also provided guidance on introducing mindfulness, social service, and everyday introspection at the classroom level. Sadhguru emphasized that the Vice-Chancellors in attendance during this conference should take up the mantle and be the leaders with strong conviction. Sri Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence would be happy to collaborate and extend all support in this endeavor. The session concluded with felicitation of Professor Alur and with a group photograph. Thank you, Saira.
This evening, we have two Vice-Chancellors who will share their reflections of the conference. First, we have Professor T.K. Kharbamon, Vice-Chancellor, Martin Luther Christian University, Shillong, Meghalaya. With over 47 years of experience in English language education, she has held key academic positions, including Director of English and Foreign Languages University, Shillong. A specialist in applied linguistics, she has contributed significantly to teacher training across India and Southeast Asia. She currently serves as the National President of English Language Teachers Association of India and actively leads several academic and social initiatives in Meghalaya and beyond. Professor Kharbamon, please.
Thank you, ma'am. A very good afternoon to each one assembled here. Honorable Sadhguru Madhusudan Sai, the founder and chancellor of the Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence, the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Murthy of the Sathya Sai University, honorable dignitaries on the dais, my fellow Vice-Chancellors, the faculty of the university, and the supporting staff, the students of the university, and ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed a privilege and an honor for me to be standing before this august gathering on behalf of all the honorable vice-chancellors who have traveled from the different states to come to this university. I am here to acknowledge and share the experiences we had in this two-day All India VC's conference, the second edition, on the theme, Humane Education for a Better World. I think my fellow colleagues will agree with me that this is a conference with a difference. Unique in all aspects, the venue, the ambience, the atmosphere. For me personally, it is an academic and a spiritual retreat. The Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence encapsulates all the essence of humaneness in its way, in its organization, and in its workings. I see discipline, I see values. The deliberations from the distinguished speakers, and especially this morning's dialogue with Sadhguru Madhusudan Sai, the founder and the chancellor of this university, has been gold nuggets for us to reflect. We have learned, and we will unlearn and relearn to help us look at education from an entirely new perspective. The humanness of it, which along the way, in our journey, we have lost and digressed in the realms of commercialization, materialism, and globalization. Indeed, we have to go back to our roots, upholding our core values, our traditions that have sustained us for so many years. And yes, I quote one of the distinguished speakers, it is a must-have and not just a nice-to-have. True, there will be challenges along the way. It is not easy. But together, with a sense of dedication and commitment that we see in this beautiful institution, we can do it. For where there is a will, there is always a way. We can be, in the words of Sadhguru Sri Madhusudan, we can be the transformative agents. We can be the catalysts of change. We can be the change makers, the light of the world, the candles in the dark, and the salt of the earth. Thank you to the Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence for putting us back on track, for showing us the way in a world where the emotional culture is reigning supreme, in a world blinded by commercialization and materialism, where cultures have been hybridized. Thank you, Sadhguru Sri Madhusudan Sai, for being our role model of a true academic leader, coupled with a deep sense of morality and commitment to the cause of education. We see in you the intelligence, we see in you the knowledge, we see in you a spiritual leader, and the humility in you. We pray that God will bless you with a long life so that He can give the power in you to fulfill all your dreams, your endeavors, and your vision. God bless you. God will also bless each one of the responsible leaders in the university. And God bless each one of us as responsible leaders of our respective institutions. Let us go back with a renewed spirit, with a renewed vision of what education is all about. Education, a humane education for a better world, because that is what we need right now. It is a need of the hour. We will go back to our respective universities with a renewed spirit and a sense of accountability to the responsibility that has been entrusted upon our shoulders. May we aspire for integrity and the values that have sustained us all this time. I would like to end with a quote again from the psychologist Chaim Keynote, who is my favorite, and I'm very passionate about his quotes. And I use his quotes to the teachers whenever we run the teacher training programs in the country and abroad. This is what he says: I have come to a frightening conclusion. We are very complacent, but he wakes us up and he says, I am the decisive element in the classroom. It is my personal approach that creates the climate. It's my daily mood that makes the weather. I possess a tremendous power to make a student's life miserable or joyous. I can be a tool of torture or an instrument of inspiration. I can humiliate or heal. In all situations, it is my response that decides whether a crisis will be escalated or de-escalated, and a child humanized or dehumanized. This is the theme of the conference: human education for a better world. So let us go with that mission, with that goal. I bless each one of you, and may God bless this university and bless each one of us. Thank you very much. Kublai Shibon, Jai Hind. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Our next speaker is Professor Niranjana Vanali, Vice-Chancellor, Bengaluru North University, Kolar, Karnataka. With over 36 years of teaching and 24 years of research in journalism and mass communication, he has served as a professor at the University of Mysore, Registrar of Karnataka State Dr. Gangubai Hangal Music and Performing Arts University, and the Director of the Swami Vivekanand Cultural Center at the Indian Embassy in Tajikistan. He is a very respected author and recipient of awards like the Karnataka Sahitya Academy Award, the Gurur Award, and the Krishnananda Kamath Puraskara. Professor Niranjana ji.
Thank you, Madam. Revered Madhusudan Sai ji, dignitaries on the dais, and my fellow Vice-Chancellors, faculty members, and students of this great university, ladies and gentlemen. Eldrigu namaskara. This is the third time I am visiting Sathya Sai University. And every time I have visited this university, seen Madhusudan ji, my respect and love for the person has increased. That shows his humane attitude towards all human beings. It is my pranams to the great personality. This was the second conference in which majority of the Vice-Chancellors took part in revolutionizing the education in India. It's nearly 80 years we have seen the higher education in the country, and it needed a person like Madhusudan Sai to take the initiative to humanize this education system. When he has taken this initiative, I am very sure that it is going to make a transformation in the Indian education system. These 2 days I have seen every session was thought-provoking, and for us Vice-Chancellors made us think differently, and what are the responsibilities of us these sessions, and especially the session where we had the opportunity for a divine dialogue with Madhusudan ji today was eye-opener. My only worry is, like Duryodhana says, I know what is good, but I can't practice. I know what is bad, but I can't live. But I am very sure we have taken a pledge, and I can promise from all our government university Vice-Chancellors, on behalf of the Vice-Chancellors representing government universities from Karnataka, that we make sincere effort to humanize our education system in Karnataka. And we have taken a pledge today that when we go back to our universities, we make very sincere efforts to introduce human aspects and making the transformation that is required to make this humanize our higher education system. I promise Madhusudan ji that we all put our efforts in making this, and this conference should lead to a total transformation of Indian education system. I am very sure that is going to happen. Thank you one and all.
Thank you, sir. May we now invite and request Dr. Sonal Mansingh ji, one of India's most celebrated cultural icons and legendary classical dancers, to address all of us. With a remarkable career spanning several decades, she has performed and conducted workshops in over 90 countries, using dance as a medium for social change, environmental awareness, and the empowerment of women. As founder-president of the Center for Indian Classical Dances, she has trained thousands in carrying forward India's rich artistic traditions. A recipient of the Padma Vibhushan and Padma Bhushan, she's also been honored with the Sangeet Natak Academy Ratna and Kalidas Samman. She has been honored with the Srimanta Shankardeva Award in 2023 by the government of Assam, nominated to the Rajya Sabha in 2018, and as one of the Navaratnas of the Swachh Bharat Mission, she continues to shape public thought through her artistic and cultural vision. Her unique Natya Katha style blends storytelling, music, and abhinaya, making Indian philosophy and heritage accessible to all. Dr. Sonal Mansingh ji.
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु विद्यारूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. I am indeed honored and privileged to be here, my first visit, and I hope many more will follow. I had the opportunity to meet Sadhguru in Delhi just a few months ago, where he spoke about his dream of bringing 100 universities, 100 cultural ensembles, and I added one more, and he accepted. I said 101 because that goes into infinity. And I have heard the speeches by the honorable speakers. I just want to share a couple of stories with you. The Indian dancer is always telling stories because it's a narrative art, it's a visual art. One performance is equal to 50 lectures and sermons. Why? And this is not what I say. This is what I've been told by great people. Not about me, but generally, because when one performs, the story, the legend from the Purana, from Srimad Bhagavad Purana, where the Daridra Brahman, Sudama, Kuchela, goaded by his wife, finally reaches Dwarika and asks to meet his friend Krishna. People make fun of him. But then one kind paricharak goes up, reports to the maids of honor who tell Patrani, Queen Rukmini, and the person is called forward. What is it? What's the message? Nagari Das, a very famous Dasa Sampradaya from Vrindavan, as you have Dasa Sampradaya in Karnataka, of which Purandara Dasa, Haridasa, Kanakadasa, like that, there is a Dasa Sampradaya in Vrindavan. Nagari Das, who was a king turned into Vaishnava Bhakta, he writes, Sisa paga na jhagataname. There is no headgear and nothing on his body. Aru jane ko aan base kehi Grama. We don't know from where he has come. Dhoti phati si lati dupati. And the dhoti is torn and twice over wrapped. Aru paay upan hai ke nahi sama. No footwear either. So Krishna is asking his emperor, he's the Yadava Kula Vamsha, Rajadhiraj, Maharajadhiraj, Sri Krishna Chandra, Aishwarya Swami. Yeah, go on. He says, Dwar khadyo dvij dur bal ek, rahyo chakiso vasudha avirama. Some Brahman has come and is looking everywhere with big, big eyes. Puchata Deen Dayalu ko dham. And is asking, where is my Deen Dayal? Where is my Krishna? Batavata apano nama Sudama. And he says, his name is Sudama. And Sri Krishna jumps out. Sudama! Are Sudama! And he runs No footwear. He just runs and everybody runs after him. They have never seen their Swami in this state of emotion. He runs out. He runs through the upavanas, the gardens, the sabha-khandas, the assembly halls. And right out, he sees the little figure. And he goes up to him. And when he touches him, Sudama feels the thrill. When their eyes meet, both have Ganga, Jamuna. And how Sri Krishna takes him in, brings him to his own throne, seats him there, washes his feet, dries them himself, putting them on his thigh, and then takes the achamana, charanamrita of that Dina Daridra Brahman who has come without footwear. He takes the charanamrita. Trailokya Swami is doing that. Everybody needs to understand what is the message. One can grow into any role, yet never forgetting the human value of karuna, of maitri. Never forget that. Recently we presented Bhava Ganga performance in Delhi. Bhava Ganga, the Ganga, the eternal flow of energy, which also teaches us bhava. With AI, artificial intelligence, and the predominance of grade-inducted education, job-oriented education, one slowly is seeing the transformation into people who are without bhava. Things happen in front of their eyes. They are busy taking video rather than helping the victim, the people. Here, Sri Rama, Sita ji, and Lakshmana are in Sringaverapura, going into exile. They have to cross the Ganga. So Lakshmana calls the Kevat, the Nishad, the boatman, and he takes them across. But first he says, I'll wash your feet. Hey Ram. Ram doesn't, he knows everything. He's after all, who? Narayana. He says, why? He says, see, I heard that by the touch of your foot, Shalya became Ahalya. Suppose my boat also becomes another woman. What will I say to my wife? No, I have to wash your feet. They cross. And now Sri Ram asks him, what should I give you? Uttarai. You have ferried us across in your boat. We have to give you the... He says, no. See, we are brothers in our business. So brother to brother, we don't... He says, how come? And Lakshman is getting more and more curious. He says, I only ferry people across the Ganga. You ferry people across the Bhavasagara. Are we not brothers? Here again, what we see is the respect for what we call the common wisdom and the bhakti. The utmost power of bhakti which ferries us across Bhavasagara. And then Sri Ram, of course, asks Sita ji, do you have something to give? And she takes off her ring, which Sri Rama gives to the... He accepts it very happily. And that's why Sita ji could not send back the ring with Hanumanji. She had no ring. Sri Ram sent the mudrika. She only took out the chudamani because the ring was given to the Nishad, the boatman. I want to share with you things that transformation is wonderful, that education brings transformation ideally. I want to go one step further. If it can also lead to transcendence, and that is a quantum leap between transformation and transcendence. It is a vertical leap. If that we can bring about more and more with the vision given by Sadhguru, with the vision shared by our great parampara of gurus in our visual and arts, we follow the Guru parampara, the Guru Shishya parampara. In fact, I never received any certificate from my gurus, sir. I never entered a competition and win a gold medal. No. The Guruji teaching me Varnam for my Arangetram in 1961 in this Bengaluru. At 17, I was still innocent, unlike today's girls. I'm not getting the Nayika Bhava. I'm in love with you, oh great Shiva. I'm drowning in Viraha Sagara, come and rescue me. Perfect hastamudras, perfect bhangis, bhangimas, body postures, perfect laya, but no bhava. And then one hot afternoon, he heard the sound and he went to the window, looked out and said, Sonia, come here. You know the tatakali with which we beat the rhythm, which can also beat your rhythm here and on the knees. So I went. I was in a sort of a crying state of mind. And he pointed, what's that? Sir, I see monkeys. Those years, you know, on bicycle, the she and he monkeys were brought. They had little ghungroos and they would duk, 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 dance. He said, sir, monkeys are dancing. He pointed the tatakali and said, show me the difference between them and you. That's the Guru. Believe you me, that went like an arrow. And I have ever since tried to make the difference. What's the difference between monkey and me? And if we understand these nuances of life, which to be inculcated in education, in the system, the new education policy is supposed to be all about that. I don't know when it will come into real practice. But the right brain and the left brain, they say, they control intellect and emotion. Somehow, emotions have been given the sort of lower status. ठीक है. Arts, yeah. Entertainment. Right brain, science, mathematics, astrology, astronomy, all that. But we forget that shunya, zero, invented in our Bharatavarsha. That zero, that shunya, is not vacuum, but it is the void from which Srishti emerges, and into which again Srishti submerges. And this is called Leela. We present these Leelas again and again. Sir, I saw this great example in the Buddhist Tantric Charya Giti, which I performed for His Holiness the Dalai Lama in 1994 in McLeodganj. It is so amazing that the concept of zero, without it we cannot imagine any science, anything at all. That zero is our goal. Through the arts, to submerge into that, samarpanam, and that is the bhakti which I was talking about. From science to arts and arts to science, there is no difference, none at all. So the education, the values, the human values that Sadhguruji is talking about is all about great concepts made visible and something that can be practiced in everyday life. If they cannot be practiced in everyday life, then to me they are worthless. Omkar. A lot of people say, oh, that is religion. We know it's not religion. It's a sound of the antariksha. It's a sound of the sun. What is Omkara? Now, when they were chanting, I just went into dhyana. The Nada Brahma comes through. And these are the yoga kriyas that we imbibe through dance, through music. And I call Sir Sadhguruji, I call our Nritya Parampara as the Uchchatama Yoga, the Nritya Yoga. Therefore, Bhagavan, Ishwar, Shiva is called Nataraj. He's not called Kaviraj, Netaraj, Vaidyaraj. He's called Nataraj. And Bhagavati, is Nateshwari. So between them, the Shiva Shakti Sangamam, everything exists, everything goes round. And again, the Ardhanarishwara concept comes alive. I'm very, very happy that here the arts and the sciences and human studies, they are all combined together. That is why one feels the wonderful vibrations here. When I had the opportunity to meet Sadhguruji in Delhi, at first moment, I said, yes, I'm so happy to see him. It doesn't happen very often, though. I invoke the blessings of the Guru Parampara. I invoke the blessings of Bhagavati. And I invoke the blessings of all the elders, the Vidwans who are all here. And of course, Sadhguruji's blessings on all of us. And I hope to be back during the great festival with my Natya Katha, which I would love to perform here. Once again, Sadhguruji, thank you very much for inviting me here, giving me this opportunity. And once again, Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for that very reflective exposition coming out from the depths of your deep spiritual experiences. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for being here with us today. May we now give a very big round of a welcome applause to Shri Tejaswi Surya, Honorable Member of Parliament, representing Bangalore South. He's joined by his wife, Srimati Sivashri Skandaprasad, an acclaimed artist both in Carnatic vocals and Bharatnatyam. Hearty welcome to you. May we now request our distinguished guest, Dr. Anil Kakodkar, to please address all of us. He played a major role in asserting India's sovereignty in the nuclear space. His firm belief that India should be self-reliant in energy, especially leveraging her vast endowment of low-cost thorium resources, he designed the indigenous Advanced Heavy Water Reactor. With a background rooted in Gandhian principles, he introduced the concept of sillage, a combination of best city and best village practice to create functional and sustainable ecosystems for better rural development. Dr. Kakodkar.
Sadhguru Shri Madhusudan Sai Ji, other distinguished personalities on the dais, off the dais, Honorable Vice-Chancellors, distinguished members of faculty, dear students, invitees, ladies and gentlemen. I feel privileged to have this opportunity to be a part of this valedictory function of the All India Vice-Chancellors Conference dedicated to the theme, Humane Education for a Better World. We just heard a glimpse of what transpired during this conference. And I must say I have attended other Vice-Chancellors Conference earlier a couple of times. But this, although I didn't take part in the actual conference, but this seemed different. So I'd like to talk about a few things in this context. I'm not an educationist. I spent my whole professional career in the field of atomic energy, which triggers excitement of different kind in different people. I have been asked this question many times, that coming from a background of Gandhian families, are you at peace with what you have done? And I have reflected on this. I also sought guidance from several senior people. And one thing that I learned is, technology, which is, you start with knowledge, do research, apply science, develop technology, and technology is what gives you power. And so, on one hand, you get a lot of benefits, a lot of welfare activities for human beings. But there is a flip side, and that is, there is a lot of negativity, there is a lot of exploitation, there is a lot of destruction. And so I surmise that whatever things have been posed to me, I reduce that to one simple question: is technology good or bad? And my own reflection on this issue is technology is neither good nor bad. What is good or bad resides here in human mind. So equipped with very powerful technologies, a constructive mind will always ensure that technology is always used for the betterment of humanity and also would be used to destroy evil wherever that is. So coming to a meeting like this, it looks to me that while people like me who come from the background of science and technology, we spend very little time in shaping the humanness in human beings. And if you don't pay attention to this aspect, then the animal in all of us, because after all, we are all part of animal kingdom. So the animal in all of us takes an upper hand, and that's where the problem starts. So theme of this Vice-Chancellors conference, I think is extremely appropriate, particularly in today's context, modern days context. Because one often wonders whether, in spite of so much of quote-unquote progress, whether things are moving forward for the better or for the worse. And I'm sure the deliberations here might have at least thrown some clues on this question and how to translate that into the education of students that all of us are engaged in. I just want to add 3 dimensions, not necessarily a complete picture, but those 3 dimensions appear very important to me. Number 1, the aspect of excellence. We, the human beings, we make progress when we constantly move towards excellence. And excellence has no destination, it's a journey. So, we have great heritage in terms of knowledge. I'm not too sure the Indian knowledge system that we talk about really captures the entire heritage dimension, but we have that heritage. Based on that knowledge, as I said earlier, comes the aspect of research, pushing the frontiers of that knowledge forward in any field. And how one does that, the rate of progress that you make, it depends on the level of excellence that you are working at. But through that research comes the renewed power, as I said earlier, through the scientific research to the technology and application. So talking in terms of excellence, to me, if you want to excel in science and technology, we should be able to do things which others have not done yet. We should be able to do things which are completely disruptive, but would make a very large positive impact on the world around us. That is what allows you as a society, as a nation, to be a front-runner entity. Now, this is not about competition, but this is about pursuit of excellence. Because when it comes to competition, there is inevitably some kind of a killer instinct that steps in, and that adds to the not so desirable aspects. It's on that basis that you get power. Apparently, we seem that we are moving forward. But along with the same power comes the power to exploit. So, if you have power both in terms of physical strength, I dare say intellectual strength, or any such thing, you also get power to exploit. And if that becomes a dominant feature, then I think things move not on a positive path, but on a negative path. So there is a second dimension that we need to do, and that is, while we have that capability, we must always work very hard to make sure that the disparities in the world are eliminated. That may be very difficult, but if not eliminated, at least minimized. And even there, I think whatever pursuit one is pursuing, I'm talking about science and technology, but any other pursuit, I think if we devote that power, devote that ability to minimize disparities around us, disparities of all kinds, then I think certainly one contributes to make this world a better place. So just as there is excellence in terms of doing things which others could not do or have not done that till that time, I think there is a level of excellence that must get pursued, even in terms of minimizing disparities. And the third is, of course, the dimension of this very conference, that in this pursuit of excellence, we want to ensure that we are moving towards being better human beings, and make sure that the animal instincts in us, which are there, whether you accept it or not, there are animal instincts in each one of us. But make sure that those do not get the upper hand, and the human instincts always dominate. And that's what the subject matter of this Vice-Chancellors Conference is, the human education for a better world. So to me, if these three dimensions, if we excel in all the three dimensions, I feel fairly assured that the problems of the world will keep diminishing, world will move towards a better place. If any one of these dimensions we are kind of lacking in terms of pursuit of excellence, there could be issues and there could be challenges. So in education, we often talk about holistic education. And to me, that's what the holistic education means. So I thought on this occasion, I'll just express these thoughts and stop. Thank you very much.
May we now request our dynamic leader, Shri Tejasvi Suryaji, to address all of us. Representing the Bangalore South constituency, he's also the president of the Bharatiya Janata Yuva Morcha. From the age of 9, Mr. Surya has lived his values, funding Kargil relief with the proceeds from his own artwork. Today, he stands for politics rooted not just in policy, but in humaneness and purpose, an approach that reminds us that we are all in this together. Shri Surya is currently serving on several parliamentary committees, including the Committee on Public Accounts and Committee on Science and Technology, Environment, Forests and Climate Change. He was also a member of the Joint Committee on the Waqif Amendment Bill 2024 for his city, Bengaluru. Mr. Surya champions various causes such as metro expansion, urban mobility, affordable healthcare, quality education, etc. Shri Tejasvi Suryaji.
ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ವೇದಿಕೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಉಪಸ್ಥಿತರಿರುವಂಥ ಯಾರನ್ನ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಆತ್ಮೀಯತೆ, ಪ್ರೀತಿ ಮತ್ತು ವಿಶ್ವಾಸ, ಆಶೀರ್ವಾದ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಬರುತ್ತೋ ಆ ರೀತಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಸದಾ ಗುರುಸ್ವರೂಪಿಯಾಗಿರುವಂಥ ಶ್ರೀ ಸದ್ಗುರು ಮಧುಸೂದನ್ ಸಾಯಿ ಸ್ವಾಮೀಜಿಯವರೇ, ಹೋಮಿ ಬಾಬಾ ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟ್ನ ಚಾನ್ಸಲರ್ ಆಗಿರುವಂಥ, ಭಾರತಕ್ಕೆ ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ತನ್ನದೇ ಆದಂಥ ಹೊಸ ಶಕ್ತಿಯನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಂಥ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಅನಿಲ್ ಕಾಕೋಡ್ಕರ್ ಅವರೇ, ಜೀವನವನ್ನು ಹೇಗೆ ನಡೆಸಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಸದಾ ಉತ್ಸಾಹಿಯಾಗಿ ರಿಲೆಂಟ್ಲೆಸ್ ಪರ್ಸೂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಕ್ಸಲೆನ್ಸಿಗೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಹೆಸರಾಗಿರುವಂಥ, ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಬಹಳ ಗೌರವಿಸುವಂಥ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಸೋನಲ್ ಮಾನ್ಸಿಂಗ್ ಜಿ ಅವರೇ, ವೇದಿಕೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಉಪಸ್ಥಿತರಿರುವಂಥ ಈ ಇಡೀ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯ ಬೆನ್ನೆಲುಬಾಗಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡುವಂಥ ಹಿರಿಯರಾದಂಥ BN ನರಸಿಂಹಮೂರ್ತಿ ಅವರೇ, ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಶಶಿಧರ್ ಪ್ರಸಾದ್ ಅವರೇ, ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಶ್ರೀಕಂಠಮೂರ್ತಿ ಅವರೇ, ನೆರೆದಿರುವಂಥ ಎಲ್ಲ ವೈಸ್ ಚಾನ್ಸಲರ್ಗಳೇ, ಆತ್ಮೀಯ ಬಂಧುಗಳೇ, ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ಗ್ರೇಟ್ ಡಿಲೈಟ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಅಮಂಗ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಆಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಯು at this valedictory program commemorating the conclusion of a very well organized, well thought out All India Vice-Chancellors Conference 2025. There perhaps couldn't have been a better organizer, and there couldn't have been a better time than this institution to discuss this particular theme of humane education for a better world. Idikkinta in ಯಾವ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯಲ್ಲಿ we could have discussed this. Thank you, Swamiji, for your leadership, your guidance in multi-dimensional ways which are having such a profound impact on our society. Friends, we had the opportunity of listening to Dr. Sonalji, Anilji, both doyens in their own fields of experience. I come from a completely different world, and as somebody much closer to all of you in age, because I'm neither as accomplished as both of them in the fields of their pursuit, but as someone who is much closer to you in age, I want to share just a few thoughts on education, on the theme of this conference today, and perhaps what the next 20-30 years will hold for all of us as young Indians crafting the destiny of this country and ourselves for the next 30 years. This morning, something very interesting happened. My younger sister has gotten selected to make a graduation speech. And she is naturally very excited about it. So the last couple of days, she was pestering me to help her draft a speech. So I told her, why don't you make an effort to write something on your own, come up with a draft, let us go through it together, and then maybe we can add, delete and make some changes accordingly. So this morning she sent me her proposed intended speech. After going through this, I called her and said, did you take the help of ChatGPT to write this? And she said, yes, just to fine-tune the language. Then I told her, don't you think everyone else who is selected to make the speech would also have referred to ChatGPT and asked for its help? Don't you think all of your speeches will sound the same? What is it that will make your speech stand apart? What is it that your speech will be noted for its uniqueness if all of you will consult the same ChatGPT? And I told her there was only one paragraph in her speech which spoke about her experience as an intern in a tribal hinterland where she saw for herself the problems faced by tribal women in menstrual health, in health challenges, accessibility to medicines, affordability. That was one paragraph in that entire speech that was authentic, that reflected her experience. I was just thinking about it while I was coming here, and I realized that all of us, especially all of you, the young people sitting here, all of you are in a very, very interesting period in human history where artificial intelligence is going to change every aspect of life the way we know it today. In an era where artificial intelligence is going to customize and tailor every kind of requirement for every single person here, what makes you different is your individuality. And it is that individuality that cannot be just taught at university campuses in schools, or it can only come through a fully lived experience of life. That is what will make you different in an era where everything is going to be uniform. And I think that should be the focus of what our universities must focus on, our education systems must focus on, to actually bring about the inherent individuality and uniqueness that is there in all of us. That is what is the core and focus of our education. And that will come out only when, like Anilji said, there is a holistic approach to education. I have just a couple of thoughts. I was just writing something about what could be the point of education. This is just something that I just jotted down while sitting on the stage. The point of education must be to free one's mind from all kinds of conditioning, to make it free, to equip it with things and tools to make it think critically, to not blindly conform with traditional knowledge, all the while appreciating the value of traditional disciplines. It must instill in us an insatiable hunger to understand the true nature of the world, to see things for what they are, and a dogged pursuit of excellence, and to learn infinitely. I want to just expand on these ideas that I jotted down. We have the very first word in the theme is human education, humane education. What is it that has made us human beings different from animals? One of the most important aspects is the gift of cognitive thinking, critical thinking, independent thinking. Imagine if we did not have this unique ability. Imagine if human beings were not in this world and it was just populated by animals. Or also think if we were just human beings without this cognitive thinking, living how we were before evolution of this cognitive ability. Could we have solved the problems that we have solved as the world today? Hunger is no more a big problem in the world because we have solved it. Multiple epidemics which killed people in millions have now been solved. Diseases that killed entire generations has now been cured. We now travel from one corner of the world to another corner in such an easy fashion. We communicate so easily. All of these achievements of the humankind was possible only because of creative, disruptive, grand and crazy thinking of the humankind. Anilji mentioned about the pursuit of excellence. I remember somewhere reading this very, very interesting story. There was once a sculptor in a remote village of India who was interviewed by a foreign journalist. When this journalist went to meet him, he saw the sculptor at work. There was one deity, one idol of a god that was already made, one of the Hindu gods in the Hindu pantheon, and a similar replica he was working on. So the journalist was surprised and asked him, "Are you trying to make two of the same kind? Why is it that you are making an exact replica of the one that you have already made?" The sculptor then told the journalist that there was a mistake in the earlier one, and the journalist with twisted eyes tried to figure out where this mistake was. And then he couldn't find out. And then he asked the sculptor, "Where is this mistake exactly?" He said, "Somewhere near the eyebrow, I somehow couldn't make it the way I intended to. Therefore, I'm making a new whole one." So the journalist asked the sculptor again, "Where exactly will you be placing this idol?" He said, "On a pedestal that will be around 20 feet away from where people can see." Surprised, the journalist asked him, "When I can't make out this mistake standing from 2 feet, why are you bothered when you are going to keep this from 20 feet away? Who will see? Who will know?" Then the sculptor said, "I will know. Therefore, I am making a whole new one." This is the dogged pursuit of excellence that actually creates magic results. And this is one quality, my dear friends, that I want to request all of you, especially as young, bright Indians who are going to be torchbearers of this great country, this civilization. This pursuit of excellence is the hallmark of our civilization. And this is one of the greatest human qualities that has made civilization possible. This is what we must pursue with all our ability. I remember a couple of years ago, there was an exhibition match that happened here in Chinnaswamy Stadium. It was this Masters Cup or something where Sachin Tendulkar had come to play. It was an opportunity for me to go and get a selfie with Tendulkar. Who doesn't want a selfie with Tendulkar? So I didn't want to miss this opportunity, so I went. It was an exhibition match. It wasn't any World Cup finals or anything of that kind which had huge media attention or a lot of weight on the team. It was a very simple practice session. It was an exhibition match. And they told me Tendulkar was at the nets for 5 full hours practicing. And that day I realized why Sachin Tendulkar is called the god of cricket. Retired well into his 40s to play a practice match, Tendulkar is at the nets for 5 full hours practicing. That is what makes him the greatest cricketer. Once I was on a flight with Deve Gowdaji. Even at his 91, 92 years old, he is still an active parliamentarian. He was seated next to me. And through the flight, he kept reading something. And I was there watching Netflix. And then I asked him, Sir, yen ashtond otta idiralla? He said, no, I have a speech tomorrow or day after in Rajya Sabha. I'm just going through notes. Former Prime Minister, 91 years old, in the flight, still making notes. We heard Sonalji say, she's going to come here and perform before all of us. That is how life must be lived. Especially in an era where information is so easily available, where jobs can be so easily replaced, when nobody is indispensable, lifelong learning and lifelong pursuit of excellence is what is going to make us indispensable. That is one important human quality that all of us must imbibe in education. That is something that universities and vice-chancellors must actually try very hard to inculcate. And then this leaves us with another important question. Why should we do all of these things? And what is it that we need so badly? Swamiji, the last so many years, the more I am seeing the society at all levels, the more I realize the acute crisis of leadership in India. And I think education must fulfill that void in a very imperative fashion. And by leadership, I do not just mean leadership in the political sense, but leadership at all levels of society. Can we have people of ramrod integrity who in their own domain and expertise deliver the best they can in their responsibility every day? If you are a principal in a school, can you make your school the best in the country? If you are a vice-chancellor of a university, can you set for yourself the lofty aim of making that university the best in at least 5 disciplines in the world? If you're a policeman in charge of a station house, if you're an inspector in a circle, will you be the best inspector, the most honest policeman? Somebody who will not harass the street vendor down on the street for your weekly hafta? If you're a contractor, can you be the best contractor in the business who will actually deliver your goods in the most committed, honorable manner? Integrity, leadership, responsibility, this is what is acutely needed. And it is needed at all levels. It is only then India can build great cities. India can build and restore the great civilizational glory that this country had seen. And that cannot happen if our university education system does not integrate, along with the secular pursuit of excellence in technical, academic, and other fields, the most important grounding factor, that is our civilizational roots. Because that is what makes the character, that is what makes all of us Indians stand true to the values that this country has always espoused. And I think over the last 70 years, despite attaining political independence, our education system, for some reason or the other, remained in colonial traps. Ananda Kumaraswamy, a great philosopher, a critique of art, had this to say about this education system. He said that the most crushing indictment of this education system is that it destroys all capacity for the appreciation of Indian culture. Speak to the ordinary graduate on the ideals of the Mahabharata. He will hasten to display his knowledge of Shakespeare. Talk to him of religious philosophy, and you will find that he is an atheist of the crude type common in Europe a generation ago. Not only has he no religion, but he is as lacking in philosophy as the average Englishman. Talk to him of Indian art. It is news to him that such a thing exists. Ask him to translate a letter written in his own mother tongue. He does not know it. He is indeed a stranger in his own land. The National Education Policy 2020 has concertedly decided to shift this and make Indian education finally Indian. Give our young people the orientation, the rootedness to form the character and culture rooted in this society, in this culture. And that is what is going to produce extraordinary people for this civilization. And that, I think, should be the single-pointed focus of our university systems to actually bring about a generation of this kind of Indians. Finally, friends, I have just one thought to share with all of you. While we do all of these things, while we found great companies that will have trillions of dollars in market capital, while we become scientists who seed the most disruptive changes in our generation, while we build the greatest of institutions, while we become the greatest of political leaders, we must also realize that at the end of the day, one of the most basic and natural expression of a human being is through arts. You may be a fantastic scientist, but after a hard day of solving equations, you will still want to go back home and listen to some soothing music that you like. You may be a world-winning tennis champion or a triathlete, but you may still go back home and to find your own composure and your own self, you may want to go and paint something. Art is a beautiful expression of the beauty that is inherent in every human being, which is why I always make it a point to request young people to pursue some form of art, because art brings in life a very beautiful quality of appreciating life and beauty. The idea of aesthetics, the idea of beauty, the idea of understanding and appreciating art in its beautiful format is what makes us uniquely human. These values are what this holistic approach to education will translate into a wholly happily lived life, a full life. I think all of us are living in an extremely interesting time, especially us Indians. I remember I had said the same thing the last time I had come here. We have the opportunity of not just making changes for this country, but also living through the changes and seeing the changes bear fruit. Perhaps no generation in the world today has this opportunity. At least in India, the generations born before to us and the generations that will be born after us will not have this opportunity. This is a fantastic opportunity for us. For the next 30 years, the world will be watching at what India will be doing. I have just returned from a delegation that went across 6 countries in different parts of the world. I can only tell you that in whichever country we went, there was unbridled enthusiasm, unbridled hope, and unbridled energy towards India. The world is looking at India for its trade. It is looking at India for its technology. It is looking at India for its tradition and culture. It is in this uniquely blessed time in history that you and I are young and are in productive age group. Let us preserve our individuality, because that is what is going to make us unique in this world where uniformity will dominate. Let us pursue excellence. Let us pursue grand ideas. Let us pursue what somebody says is the most craziest of thoughts with dogged excellence. Let us inculcate the ability of lifelong learning, because that is what is going to make us indispensable. Let us also, while doing all of this, remember that values of integrity, values of character, values of a strong leadership at whichever level that we are in is what is going to make us and make this country great. While doing all of this, let us also remember that a life well lived is possible when you learn the ability to appreciate beauty, when you learn to appreciate the small joys of life that comes from a pursuit of art. I wish all of you the very best. Let us become more human, because that is what all of us are. Thank you so much. Bharat Mata Ki Jai.
Thank you, Suryaji. We are very grateful to all our distinguished guests for their presence and their gracious words this evening. May we kindly request Sadhguru Sri Madhusudan Sai to felicitate them. Dr. Sonal Mansingh Ji, thank you, ma'am, for being with us this evening. Dr. Anil Kakorkar Ji, thank you, sir, for being with us today. Shri Tejasvi Surya Ji, thank you for being with us today. May we kindly request Sri Madhusudan Sai, Founder-Chancellor of the Sri Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence, to deliver his valedictory address.
Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhi Tamastu Mavid Vishavahai. Om Shantihi, Shantihi, Shanti. Let's chant it right. I was just cutting it short so that Om. saha bhavatu sahanau bhunaktu saha viryam karavavahai tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. This Shanti mantra, this prayer from our Upanishads, it prays for the well-being of both the teacher and the student. May we be protected together. May we enjoy the process of learning and teaching together. All the knowledge that comes out of it, may we exert together, and all the knowledge that comes out of it, may it brighten our intellect, and may this knowledge remain with us. May we not forget it. May there be peace in our body, mind, and spirit, in all the three worlds. With this prayer, they begin any learning, teaching, exercise. We have come together as the educators of the country. And we are not just educators, we are the makers of the destiny of Bharat and the world at large. And this Vice-Chancellors Conference has brought so many wonderful people together. They've taken time to travel from long distances over 20 states to be here for the last 2 days and deliberate about this idea of a humane education for the better world. I want to convey my personal gratitude and the gratitude of our institution for your gracious presence here. I find myself in a very unusual spot. On the right, there is the right brain and the left brain sitting together. And on the other side, there is this politics and philosophy sitting together. So I have arts and science and politics or public service and philosophy. And I'm trying to balance all these forces like a weighing scale. But that is our society. Such beauty in the diversity that India is. And every field of knowledge is respected in this country. Excellence is worshipped. And since time immemorial, we have always pursued this path of excellence. Our university's motto is Yoga Karmasu Kaushalam. That's borrowed from Bhagavad Gita, where Sri Krishna says that perfection, though it's translated as excellence, but I always say, don't stop at excellence. God tolerates excellence, but expects perfection. So we continue our journey from excellence to perfection. That is the idea of the university. Every one of the speakers spoke about it. The beautiful storytelling. It was a speech, come a song, come a dance recital, all rolled into one in your personality, as you took us through such a wonderful exposition of those incidents that happened thousands of years ago, but they nevertheless spoke high of human values that even our avatars followed. What to talk about the ordinary men? You talked about transcendence, not just transformation. Today we are still discussing how to humanize education. Being Bharatiyas, we should be talking about divinizing education, not humanizing it. But I think we are still not ready for it. We are still trying to humanize education, even at this juncture. And Professor Dr. Kakodkarji said, before you humanize, de-animalize education. Help them to overcome the animal instincts before they try to become human. Ahara nidra bhayamaitunam cha samanyam etat pashubhir naranam dharmo hi tesham adhiko visheshaha dharmo vihinam pashubhis samanaha. Ahara, food, sleep, fear of the future, and procreation are common to animals and humans. But if we just live by these, we are still animals. sophisticated ones at that. But we are not humans unless we follow dharma. And dharma is a very, very deep word in our scriptures. It's not so loosely translated as doing someone's our duty or following righteousness or following a certain path. It's very, very deep rooted. Swadharma is the actual concept from Bhagavad Gita, where we are to do what we are born to do. That's when we can pursue excellence. Most of us in this society, due to peer pressure and the modern education system's faulty ways, are doing things other than what we are born to do. And that's when excellence does not happen. I cannot imagine Dr. Sonal Mansingh being a nuclear scientist and Dr. Kakodkar being a dancer. They were born to do what they were born to do. And that's why they're perfect. They are doyens in their fields of knowledge. Because they just continued that dogged pursuit of excellence, what Tejasvi said. That is what has set them apart. While she could only bring herself to tell stories through her dance, he could only think of harnessing atomic energy for the betterment of the country and the world. And they could not have exchanged places because God made them so. Their Swadharma demanded that they just do that which they are born to do. And our education system must provide the students with this opportunity to be able to pursue what they are born to pursue and not do something else. Sri Krishna says, Swadharme viguna shreyah paradharmat swanuschitat. It's better to do your duty even with some faults than to copy somebody else and try to be somebody else. Swadharme nidhanam shreyaha paradharmo bhayavaha, he says. In your doing your own pursuit of excellence in the field of knowledge, the path that God has chosen for you, it's better you die doing that than trying to do somebody else's dharma. That is the idea of Swadharma, but I am not sure how many educational institutions provide that kind of opportunity to the young, budding, fledgling minds to pursue excellence in that field which they are born to pursue. And that's where our country is suffering with mediocrity. But education system must provide these opportunities. And that's exactly what we are trying to do as Sri Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence. It's very unique. This university, when it was founded, we had many debates. Should it be for human excellence or of human excellence? And first it was of human excellence because a lot of centers of excellence are there. But then we changed it to for excellence because we said excellence is a pursuit. We have not become excellent. We have not become perfect. We are only showing the path towards that. So it has to be for excellence. We are pursuing this path. And Dr. T.B. Jayachandra, who was one of the ministers then, he helped us found this university 5 years ago. He asked, Swamiji, what is this human excellence? I have heard excellence in various other fields. What is this human excellence? How do I define? And the answer was when a student enters a law college, like Tejasvi Suryaji, he becomes a lawyer. Somebody enters a dance college, becomes a dancer. A college for science and technology becomes a scientist. So also medical doctor, engineers, and so on. Somebody who enters Sri Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence must become God. Education must divinize him. That is the idea of our education, not less than that. And God does not mean that who sits up above in some heaven of some sort and pronounces verdicts about our deeds and things like that, punishes and rewards. No, God is the idea of selfless love and service. And somebody who can inculcate that concept of selfless love and service, such a person is truly the graduate of an institute like this. So we keep reminding ourselves, if we just stop at material education, even if it's extremely well done, we haven't achieved our goal because we haven't divinized the humans. So I would like to have another conference when we are more ready, how to divinize education for a better world. Right now we will settle for humanizing education. We still have a long way to go, I understand. But let's begin somewhere. And I think it's a good beginning that we came together to first accept and acknowledge that yes, there is a need for it. We are not trying to live in denial anymore. And now we are taking steps to ensure that education is more humane. And I'm sure in times to come, as we all come together, in the morning we discuss, Sanghav Shakti Kaliyuge. Togetherness is strength. Sahaviryam Karvavahe. We can exert ourselves, work together and achieve these goals. And why must we do that? Honorable Minister Tejaswiji said just a while ago, India is in a very interesting position at this point in time. A very young, dynamic country. 28.8 years is the mean age. And in the next 20, 30 years, we will be growing, fastest growing country. And we would be 1.7 billion people by 2060. And most of them will be young. We would be the workforce for the world. We will be the factory for the world. We would be the brain for the world. We would be the hands for the world. And it's up to us where we want to take the world, not just India. And so it's important that our students, our faculty, our academicians understand the responsibility that is coming their way. We talk about Vishwaguru Bharat, but Vishwaguru Bharat wouldn't just happen by wishing it. It should be accompanied by some meaningful action. As they say, knowledge without action is useless, and action without knowledge is dangerous. Right now, it's all action without knowledge. But we want to change it to knowledge with action. And the action is whatever steps we have decided to take. Little steps, small steps in our own little way. And as we discussed, we would like to set up a department for values education in every of the university that is represented in this conference through the good offices of the Vice-Chancellors. It's my earnest request that you take this as your mission. Do not pass this on to somebody else to deal with. You be in charge of this project, and under you, whoever is passionate about this idea, we would include them. And we also have decided to institute a gold medal for human excellence in every of these institutes at graduate, postgraduate, or whichever level that you award degrees, so that there is something to look forward to in the students. They want to achieve that. It will be accompanied by whatever little scholarship and other support that the child may need. But having decided all this, we must translate it into action, is my call. It's a call to action. This conference is about that. And as we grow today, our gross enrollment ratio is 28-29%. With that, we have 4 crore students in higher education. And Government of India wants to double the enrollment ratio in the next 10 years. So by 2035, we should have 50% GR. It means you will have 8 crore students or more in universities. We would need 1,200 more universities in the country to cater to that kind of demand. We would need millions of more professors, assistant professors, associate professors, teachers at primary, secondary level to make this vision happen. Else, all these demographic dividend will be wasted. And forget about pursuit of excellence. They won't be pursuing anything in life. They would become burdens on the society. And I've seen many countries reel under the burden of indecisive politics, policies, and education. I've been traveling and learning lots about Australia. These are all developed countries in New Zealand, Australia, Europe. So much of Europe is suffering right now because they just don't have a direction. Latin American countries, even the US, why I leave them alone? Everywhere, wherever I go, I see such need for leadership, ethical, moral leadership, which the Honorable Minister was talking about. And that's lacking. And this kind of a world where you see the sheep kind of a attitude, anybody does, everybody does it without thinking, that's going to lead us all into doom. And this is a poignant moment. At least few of us have come together with commitment, with conviction, and with a plan of action. I think this can change the way things can happen in the coming times. I wish Mr. Tejasvi Surya for some time holds the education portfolio. I think you can do a lot more good through education than all other policies that can influence the country. Because education needs not just reform, not just reformation, transformation, but transcendence. That is what the education requires, divinization. And being Indians, being Bharatiyas, we shying away from talking about this is extremely unfortunate. We're trying to be politically correct in our idea and philosophy about education is not being right. We have to be, in that way, unapologetic when we say that we are about divinizing education. We are about divinizing humans. Our culture talks about divinity in all. And one must experience that. That's the fulcrum, that is the epitome, that is the ultimate goal of education. Atma Vidya Vidyanam, Sri Krishna says. Amongst all the education, I am the education of the soul. And that education must come back into our country. Though we have just discussed some basic steps of how to implement humane quotient in our education, how to assess our students on these parameters, 8 facets of human personality, as we all know now. Our goal would be to take it to the next level in coming years. But somewhere we have to begin, and well begin is half done, as they say, so I hope that this will pave way for many more such, not just transformative, transcendental experiments in education, which would also yield results because of all the goodwill and the efforts of all of you. I am extremely grateful to 2 of the Vice-Chancellors who spoke before, and on behalf of all the Vice-Chancellors, they committed that we would take this up and we would do everything in our might. And at Sri Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence, we are always there to support every such initiatives anywhere in the country to begin with. It was Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba's vision, how education should be. And he kept on saying, good teachers plus good students is equal to good nation. That was his equation. Remove anything from the equation, everything goes awry. I have just done a small addition. After looking at the social situations around, I've added good teachers plus good students plus good parents is equal to good education. Because I see a lot of students coming from from families where parents are not aligned with this idea of education that we talk about. So including them also into education is very important. And Gurukulam system did that in the past. The parents really handed over their children to the gurus in complete trust that gurus will transform them. And they never interfered with the education system, because once the child went into Gurukula, for 12 years the child never came back for any holidays, any visits to home or any such social events at home. He came back only after he was fully done. And that was the system that really kept our country in good stead. And that, of course, today's times it may not be possible, except in some small pockets like ours. But even then, if we include parents into our education system, we are more communicative with them. It's surely possible to have that tripod model of parents, teachers, and students work together for furthering the cause of good education in India. India has been the education hub in the past. Takshashila, Nalanda, Vikramshila, name it. Even I just returned from Japan, and there the professors were telling about the history of Japanese-Indian collaborations in education. And they were going back thousands of years. I was thinking they're talking about something that happened during the independence or after the World War II or something. They were talking thousands of years back, saying we have borrowed these concepts from India. I'm sure your ancestors, our ancestors spoke some time back. I said must be, because they all used to come to our universities to study here. Thousands of them used to study here, all kinds of fields of knowledge. So India was the hub of education. I think it can again become that. I'm seeing the trend around the world where children are disillusioned with education. They do not want to do long degrees. They do not want to join the Ivy League institutions anymore. They want to do something else with their lives. They do not believe in the narrative of get a degree, get a job, make money, you will be happy. They don't believe it anymore because they've seen so much of misery despite all that. So this education can be reformed, and this is the right time. There is hunger for it in the next generation, and if we just do it right, I think we would have done a great service to the country, to the world at large, and bringing back the same ancient idea of India's Gurukula may not be completely in its entirety, but at least in some way would be the solution to this problem of moral degradation or ethical decline. And that is possible with all of us being together. I only can express my gratitude once again to every one of you, to our university staff and faculty, to all of you who have participated. Many of them you have joined us online, owing to other conferences going on at the same time. And extremely privileged and honored to have such luminaries from, definitely from both sides of the brains, but they spoke from the heart though. They didn't speak from their head. And that's the beauty of their presence here. And I was in Delhi. We were at Indira Gandhi National Center for Arts, and Dr. Sonal Mansingh ji was there. And I said, we are celebrating 100 days of cultural festivals, around 100th anniversary, birth anniversary of Baba. She said, why 100? 100, it ends there. Make it 101. And I was thinking, who would be the 101st artist to include that one extra day? And here she is. She said, I would perform. I would not have dared to tell her, please come and perform for us. And like her stature is far, far high. But coming from her that I want to do this Natikata over here, and that is such a blessing to all our children, especially those from performing arts under the guidance of Dr. Revati who are learning. I am so thrilled. So also, Anil Kakodkarji, you have been very kind to be here, and you have accepted and honored us to receive an honorary doctorate from us tomorrow during our convocation. You don't need one, we all know. It's our privilege to honor somebody like you who has worked for the country and to set an example. Yadyada charati shrestha tattat evetaro janaha. So all your examples are going to inspire the next generation. That is why we are very grateful to you. Of course, Tejasvi Suryaji, he is a very popular leader amongst our students, we all know. So if you are here, they are very happy. I think, and your presence here, because they see that dynamism in political leadership, a young, very level-headed, very visionary, and extremely committed leader of their age, not too far from their age. That is something that inspires all of them, and I'm sure you will go places, you will do our country and all of us proud in times to come. And this is the future of the country, such young leadership, rooted in Dharma. And he's a multifaceted personality. He's not just a political leader. He is a musician, he is a triathlete, he is a yoga expert, he is a singer. Yeah, of course, we heard the oratory, so we don't have to talk about it. And also very visionary. He started a kidney dialysis center in Bangalore. He had come last time and he was telling, I don't know how I am going to do that, but after coming here, I have derived some extra strength. After looking at all that is going on here for free, I'm sure I can do at least this much. I will do whatever in my might. See? Yes. Yes. He just started with 12 beds and he was wondering how will he run it for free. And now more than 25, 30 beds are running for free. That's power of goodness. That's the power of goodness. And this is the kind of people we need in the society. I have heard him sing, I've seen his videos chanting Rudram, performing pujas, and at the same time, in the same breath, talk about the political problems of the country and what solutions can be provided. This is the kind of balance in a personality of a leader that we look at. We are looking forward to, and I'm sure many of our students will get inspired to be good leaders for the future. When we were asked, why your student enrollment is so less? You have such good infrastructure, why don't you take more students? I was very, very particular that we take the right seeds. Otherwise, you'll be pouring water, nurturing them, but nothing will grow out of it because there is nothing in the seed. So we should get the right students and test them thoroughly before we admit them in our university. And that is why we took few numbers, we experimented, we tried. Now it's become a small nursery kind of leadership. And I'm sure in coming times, they will all join you and strengthen your leadership and take the country forward. All of them, boys and girls, most of them come from very rural areas. 70% of them come from rural or small towns. And tomorrow we are having the convocation, and you would be happy to know there are more girls graduating than boys. More girls post-graduating than boys. And they have won more gold medals than boys. Boy, it's the same story everywhere, he's saying. Because once they get the opportunity, they do very well. That's there in the women. And she said, Yadevi Sarvabhuteshu Vidya Rupena Samstita. They are the forms of Vidya Saraswati. They do very well. And they also are leaders of institution. They're running our schools now. After their graduation, almost all of them get employed with us. And they run our schools and train the next generation in values education. So that, as I said, we get good seeds to sow later. So they take care of that. These children go back and run all the institutions. I think there are 200 plus of them who are working in our own institutions. And these are all those who graduated in the last 3 or 4 years. But they committed to the cause of nation building through education. They all have joined us back. So also we have medical college. When these graduates come out, they will become doctors for our rural India. And they will start solving that problem of rural India, which has been unaddressed for such a long time. That is the vision with which this university is working. And we require everybody's support, everybody's blessing, especially the elders who have graced us today. And I look forward to a very lasting, mutually beneficial and rewarding partnership with all the universities and the Vice-Chancellors who are here. Once again, thanking the honorable guests on the stage, Professor Kagudkar ji, Dr. Sonal Mansingh ji, a young but dynamic Tejasvi Surya ji, of course our team of Shashidhar Prasad ji, Narsimurthy ji and Shrikant Murthy ji, and all those here. We also have a representation from a monastery in Sri Lanka. Guru Tero is from Jetavanarama Monastery. He spoke to us yesterday. He and his disciples are here who are working on mental wellness programs for the world, drawing from the ancient knowledge of the scriptures, how to help the world. So when we all come together, anything is possible. And that is the idea of these conferences. May this conference become a confluence of great minds who work together, flow together, reach together the destination that we have decided to. I once again convey our heartfelt gratitude to every one of you, and I look forward to the next steps that we would be taking together. Tomorrow is also the convocation of the university. It's a very young university, but those who are staying back, please stay back and bless the children. And I would be very delighted if you are there and bless the children for tomorrow's function. And we have kept it on Guru Purnima because we were very particular, we won't change the tithi. Can you believe I missed a very senior honorable member of Government of India because he said, tell me any other day, 10th is not possible for me. I said, sorry, we will not change 10th. You come any other day, we will have another function. But 10th is Guru Purnima, Ashadha Purnima, and we cannot change that because that is as per the tithi. We do not go by the English calendar, so every year the dates change. And this year it happened to be 10, so I said, no problem. Please come again whenever you can, but let us not break our traditions. We will continue with what we have decided to do, and you visit us again. So I'm sure we will continue this tradition. Many, many blessings to all the children who have worked hard to conduct this conference. And one word from one of the conference chair who told, I have attended conferences around the world. He's the ex-Harvard professor. And he came and told, I have attended conferences around the world. This kind of detailing, this kind of care and concern for the delegates, and all done with such perfection and with a smile, I haven't seen anywhere. Your children are very good, so I want to convey it to the children. The university students who have taken care of them, and to everybody else, from our volunteers to all the technical team, the faculty, students, to all of them, heartfelt blessings for the good work that you have done. With a prayer, Asatoma, let us chant Asatoma because that is the future. Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityoma Amritam Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Thank you, Sadhguru. May we now invite Dr. Hanumantrao Naidu, Registrar of the Sri Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Om Shri Sai Ram, offering my humble pranams at the lotus feet of Sadhguru Shri Madhusudan Sai, respected dignitaries, elders, devotees, dear brothers and sisters, Sai Ram to one and all. I am here to propose the vote of thanks on behalf
of the Sri Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence. Firstly, I would like to thank our honorable dignitaries, Sri Tejasvi Suryaji, Dr. Sonal Mansingh ji, Dr. Anil Kakodkar ji, Professor Rajshekharan Pillai ji, and Guru Tero ji for gracing this conference and sharing their wisdom. The second edition of the All India Vice-Chancellors Conference witnessed participation of more than 50 Vice-Chancellors from more than 15 universities across 15 states across the country. Our heartfelt gratitude to all these delegates who took time out from their busy schedule to participate in this conference. Their participation in an event like this on human education itself indicates how deeply they feel the need for an educational revival bringing focus to values-based education. During the conference, several speakers and experts threw light on various aspects of the theme of the conference, that is, human education for a better world. Our deep gratitude to all these scholars for enriching us with their knowledge and wisdom. Hosting more than 50 eminent personalities in one place for 2 days means need for support of many. On behalf of the university, I would like to extend our deep sense of gratitude to the various teams, including ashram administration, kitchen management, guest management, transportation, Sanathana Vani team, Sai Prakashna, social media team, IT, security, stage management, accounting and finance, HR, and the medical team. All these teams have been painstakingly nurtured by Sadhguru personally, and these events reap the benefit of all that hard work. Thanks also to all our supporters, well-wishers, and elders spread all across the globe, whose trust in us provides us the courage to continue to move forward with organizing and benefiting from these mega events. Special thanks to Professor J. Shashidhar Prasad ji, former Vice-Chancellor of University of Mysore and Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, also Board of Governors member of our university, for his unwavering support during the conference. Thanks to all our staff and faculty members who showed us that they are not only active and effective inside their classrooms and office spaces, but also outside as well, and that they have the ability to wear different hats as per the need. To our loving students, our collective gratitude to you for without the role that you played, how much ever small it may appear to you, this program would not have been a success. Special mention to the Department of Performing Arts and Department of Sanskrit and Vedic Studies for their stupendous cultural performance yesterday evening. Lastly, and most importantly, our collective, reverential, and heartfelt gratitude to our dearest Sadhguru, Sri Madhusudan Sai, founder and chancellor of our university, whose visionary leadership has led to this another important step in the direction of revolutionizing higher education by infusing humane values-based education into it. This step may look small today, but then it is said, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. What we have done with the organizing of these two conferences with the divine direction and guidance of the Sadhguru is the hardest part of this long journey, which is to get started. And next is to get going. Dear Vice-Chancellors and heads of institutions, we solicit your collaboration and cooperation so that we all come together, work together, and reach together this mighty goal of transforming this education system from education of mere information to also education of transformation to also education of immortalization. Once again, thanking all for their kind support, I conclude. Thank you, and Sai Ram.
May we request all our dignitaries on stage to kindly rise for a group photograph. And we will conclude with the national anthem. We request all to rise. The national anthem will be rendered by students of the Sri Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence, who are part of a 200-member Sai Symphony Orchestra, which is India's largest homegrown orchestra. We will have a short break of 10 minutes, after which we shall all reconvene for this evening's satsang. Thank you, everyone.